Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. I want to welcome you back to another edition of Loyalty Live. As this series, and we talk to the leaders in customer channel and brand loyalty about the technology, trends, and best practices that impact a brand's ability to drive unique experiences, enhance engagement, but most importantly, drive customer loyalty. In the months of June and July, we embarked on a mini series of Loyalty Live sessions looking at the evolving customer experience space and how brands can meet and exceed the expectations that consumers have with regard to their engagement with that brand. Obviously, brands want to have more loyal advocates, and it's very important for them to understand this evolving customer experience space to drive loyalty in the months and years ahead. So today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Oliver Mitchell, who is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Brandmovers. How are you today, Oliver?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me here today, Mark.
Absolutely. We always like to start these sessions to get a little insight on the people we're speaking with, a fun fact, a little bit of background, and obviously your role with the company. So would love to know a little bit about you, maybe a fun fact, a passion that you may have, and also your role at Brandmovers.
Sure. Well, in terms of fun facts, slash hobbies, big flyer fisherman, and I also like to play a lot of golf and go scuba diving when I'm able to. Recently had my first kid and some experience in fatherhood for the first time, which is great. I started my career in finance, and after a few years, I realized that wasn't for me. And I interned at Brandmovers during college and also high school for summers doing fulfillment and the like. Requested, I saw that digital engagement was really starting to take off. So I asked if there was a position available and got a job as a BDR. I've been here for over 9 years now, a couple of years into the role, while I was still BDR for what we now deem our digital activations group, which, in full transparency, that was our only group at the time, a long time ago now. Management started to toy with the idea of getting into loyalty, and that really piqued my interest, given it was very data centric, and it was a lot more focused on long-term relationship rather than project by project work, and it just really resonated with me. And I was fortunate to be on a team that landed our first loyalty account, which really helped lay the groundwork for where we are today. And I think it was a really natural progression for us, moving from promotions and digital activations and engagement in general into the loyalty space. And now I head up our sales and marketing teams.
Okay, great. So when you look at your role, obviously having a great deal of experience, a thought leader in this industry, how do you think customer experience has changed, evolved in the recent months and years, especially since you've been very focused with regard to customer experience?
Sure. We believe the biggest shift, especially when it comes to loyalty, is that the customer experience has rapidly evolved from being transactional to being hyper-relational. And we expect the industry and technology to continue innovating to support this trend. I think it's a fact that the core focus of experience has a lot to do with the consumer's emotional connection to the brand, and loyalty programs are one of, if not the center point for managing these relationships. And this is why we're a big believer in and recommend our clients to view their loyalty platform as a customer relationship portal, which is fully integrated with all of the different tools and systems they may be using to track, market to, personalize, incent, reward, etc., that optimize their management of the overall customer experience. While this, of course, is nothing new, I'd probably say that technical ability to design, serve, and optimize loyalty programs in ways that dynamically reward customers based off of known and predictive behaviors has accelerated during the pandemic, especially since the customer experience they receive has a massive impact on the buying decision. So really how they choose where and when and why they make a purchase and being able to react to that is key.
Okay. You touched on a number of points to talk about the evolution, kind of the push for digital and push towards digital. The acceleration has been very important through the pandemic. And, as we kind of reopen, it still remains very important. But a lot of times brands are challenged with understanding the importance of customer experience and how it should be managed, whether through a customer loyalty application or through CRM or some combination of both. A lot of kind of confusing nomenclature out there. So, how does your organization communicate and demonstrate to your customers the importance of customer experience to the clients that you work with?
Sure. We believe that the loyalty program experience is a crucial hub in the customer journey with the brand. Our ability to fully customize both the front end and the back end experience demonstrates the focus on the customer, our focus on the customer experience. And while we don't necessarily customize the entire platform, the unique way we've architected the technology in general allows us to fully align CX with brand standards and deliver experiences that are seamless. From a strategic standpoint, depending on where our clients are at on their loyalty journey, in terms of it being an entirely new initiative versus a revamp of a mature program, our typical upfront approach is laying out a roadmap, telling them where they are at, where they want to go, and how to get there. And our strategy team does a really fantastic job of laying this out and kind of running through the entire spectrum as to where they may be versus where they're trying to go. Typically, that spectrum is early to developing, to defined, to integrated, to enterprise. And the recommendations do vary per stage. And then from a support standpoint, our strategy and customer success teams work with the client to make sure the experience is very data-driven with actionable insights. And is really built around early and ongoing wins. So rather than just getting points and spending points, the brand is offering a truly experience-focused relational program.
Okay, great. When you look at the digital acceleration that's people are going through, some brands struggle with that, depending on kind of how their organization looks at their kind of technology stack, or even how sophisticated they may be internally at managing those pieces. What considerations do you think brands will have to address in the near future with regard to this digital acceleration? Are there things that you're seeing that a lot of brands are struggling with, or different verticals, or is it level of sophistication within the brands? And what considerations do you think brands are going to have to address?
Sure. I think you've touched on it a little bit, and we're in total alignment. I think first off, we believe that brands need to focus on channeling data via multiple integrations, whether that's with your CRM, your ERP, your D2C/e-com platform, your social initiatives, and the partner data, et cetera, as well as first-party data kind of mechanics in the form of consumer receipt or invoice uploads. And as we all know, how to get and use this first-party data is really key to moving forward, forward to attracting and retaining these customers. Also, aligning the customer service experience from multiple online channels, whereas a loyalty platform potentially becomes a hub for that customer service/support is important. And what I mean by that is really having the platform set up to have administrative permissions that enable your internal teams and stakeholders, or customer service teams, or sales teams, or whoever it may be, to look up their different customer profiles or accounts and address any issues that may currently be having based off of the customer's activity. So really just being able to look at the data and respond and be both reactive and proactive.
Okay. Well, when you look at the different channels that customers or consumers want to engage with, and kind of the reliance on technology to automate these personal real-time messages, the offers, the content, the technology is becoming more and more important, but brands are struggling with regard to optimizing technology and being able to use it across these channels. How do you advise brands best to help deliver these memorable transactions, these experiences, with some of the challenges that exist with regard to technology?
Sure. We like to look at this from a life cycle perspective and use analytics and segmentation to launch engagement, re-engagement, and recovery campaigns that maximize impact. So typically we start with acquisition, and some of the different types of messaging that work there may be welcome/onboarding emails, videos, influencer campaigns, paid media, referral automation, education, product and display messaging. And then as the shift focuses more to engagement, we recommend things such as quarterly newsletters or incorporating dynamic website content, a member-centric dashboard, fresh and highly perceived value rewards, customized offers such as product trials, earn and usage offers, cross-sell offers, and anniversary or birthday recognition. And then as we move into the retention phase, we really try to get into the personalization that's powered via broad data integrations, as well as gamification, interactive digital promotions and games, things such as surprise and delight offers and redemption earn burn initiatives, as well as thank you informational educational emails. And then if we are unfortunate and we lose some engagement or we have any lapses and decline in members, our reactivation strategies are typically built around things such as campaigns with personal appeals, or did you know series of edutainment videos, coming soon announcements, and what we like to call internally velocity risk offers. So really, all of these address the entire customer relationship lifecycle, whereas we're collecting data and activating it at every stage.
So when you look at brands, when they're looking to design, develop, and execute on improving the customer experience for all customers, what are some things that you suggest to them to help them increase the efficacy of those pieces?
Sure. Our strategy team specializes in helping our clients plan out and navigate through the customer journey. But I'd say this ultimately boils down to the value proposition for the customer in totality. Throwing points at people doesn't work, but building out a community that creates emotional, intangible benefits and ensuring there are both early and ongoing wins that are achievable in a reasonable time frame does work. And in that same vein, some of our foundational principles as we get into program design are: one, objectives alignment. Are we planning from the top down? Is a program strategy aligned with the company KPIs? Also, sentiment and affinity must be measured in intervals at the program level and the brand level to ensure long-term alignment. Two, blending economics and emotional benefits. For example, meaningful recognition benefits, aka soft benefits, are non-economic perks or privileges that show we value your loyalty as a brand. Three, driving incremental behavior. Not all customers are the same, of course, and therefore brands need to optimize ROI through targeted offers and provide bonuses and benefits to high value as well as high potential customers to drive the incremental behavior. And four, and this is not an exhaustive list, is clear communication and interactive dialogue. You really need to define the program benefits across customer points of interaction. This could include rewarding word of mouth based initiatives and gathering and responding to stated customer preferences.
Okay. We hear a lot about barriers to entry and participation in these programs, as the complexity of the offering, the complexity of the technology, or even just the complexity of the messaging become an issue. How do brands address that? How should brands reduce these barriers to participation within their CX and customer loyalty programs?
Sure, and it almost seems like common sense, right? But in reality, sometimes it is hard to execute on. Sometimes but ultimately, it really is about focusing on the speed, simplicity, accessibility, and value. From a technology standpoint, usually this is addressed via SSO and making sure that the program is accessible across all your channels, and that the customer doesn't need to log in every time, for example. For the customer, it's all about speed and ease of use. The perceived value of the program must be equal to or greater than the amount of effort involved for the customer to participate. For example, if the core earn mechanic is receipt upload, it needs to be no more than 2 to 3 step process for the consumer to upload the receipt. Or similar type of thing. If they're asked to refer a friend, this needs to be a 1 to 2 click process, so on and so forth. And then from the marketer's standpoint, it's, as well as the customer team, it's really just as important too. The tools that they have need to be able to, they need to enable them to quickly deploy communications, promotions, provide ad hoc benefits, and depending on the situation, for example, a ticked off customer goes off on social saying, hey, my points didn't come through, or hey, I had this bad experience. How do you respond to that? Do we have the tools to be able to respond to that immediately? So ultimately, this ties to back into what we talked about earlier in regards to integrating loyalty with the overall ecosystem, and channeling that data from multiple sources, and having alignment amongst the customer service teams and experience teams.
Okay. We talked a little bit earlier, multiple channels are important now. The consumer wants to be in the channel they want to be in, and obviously the brand has to do that as well. How do you help brands engage via multiple channels for the consumers to help deepen that customer experience, encourage retention, and deepen customer loyalty?
Sure. This is one of the areas that we're really excited about. There's just so much innovation going on right now, and there's just so many possibilities. What worked in the past no longer works, may work today, of course. And it's our responsibility as vendors in the market and also on the brands as well to come up with creative ways to engage their customer base and make sure things are fresh. For example, one of our clients has a very non-traditional loyalty program whose audience is their social influencers. They're asked to complete fitness-based missions and share their activity on a number of social media platforms. And the way that this kind of all ties back to the loyalty, program in general is as part of the registration process. They're asked to associate their social handle to their account. And if they use mission-based hashtags and have a public profile, we're able to capture this information, tie it to the account, and reward them for it. So once they've completed X amount of missions, and based on their tier level / general engagement, they're sent care packages and become potentially eligible for various different surprise and delight rewards. And funnily enough, they've got the same client has a totally different program for their general consumers that has a core mechanic which is tied to Shopify transactions and referrals. So this one client is really able to to offer different types of programs to different types of customers, depending on what their needs, objectives, goals, et cetera, are, and how they've got them segmented and wedged out. So it becomes really personalized, and ultimately really results in attracting, and retention really going up.
Okay. And Oliver, last question I have: what are you seeing at Brandmovers with regard to, or what do you think, customer experience looks like? So next 6 months, next year, how will it continue to evolve? And then, as it evolves, how do brands need to be agile and flexible with regard to the evolution, be able to adapt to that?
Sure. I think the most important thing for brands moving forward is to focus on what builds a relationship between themselves and their customers. Meaningful connections could mean building a pipeline for two-way communication. The technology needs to allow program members to have a voice into the brand as part of their program status and the overall value proposition. And also, I think as data becomes harder to capture, especially in via second and third party sources, it's incumbent upon the tech providers to enable better integrations, which link unique IDs from multiple data sources to ensure a full 360-degree understanding of the customer. So the focus really should be on using this customer data to grow the relationships, not just letting it sit there unused or used in the wrong ways.
Okay, great. Well, Oliver, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I think some of the insights that you shared today with regard to what you're seeing at Brandmovers and then kind of how you're advising clients with regard to the evolving state of customer experience is very helpful, and I'm sure the brands will find it very germane to what they're doing. So thank you for taking the time to share that with us today.
Thanks so much, Mark. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Please be sure to log in this Friday, July 23rd, when our guest will be Susan Freck from Vesta. Thank you very much again. Thanks for watching.